What is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a simple combat system that looks something like this, and by the end of the video you guys will be able to do it. So make sure you stick until the end of the video and watch everything so you do not miss anything out. And also, guys, if you are interested in learning and want to know more about scripting, some stuff in depth, so more complex stuff, then make sure to check out the first link in the description. It's going to be my academy. I basically teach anything from scripting, modeling, animations, VFX, anything, and also getting commissions and getting paid through Roblox. So if you are interested in that and want to learn more and want to just make your knowledge much better, and also we just had some crazy student results recently, so the academy has been going pretty well. Make sure you check it out. It's going to be the first link in the description. Without further ado, let's get straight to making the combat system. So the combat system we're going to be making is pretty simple. We're just going to be doing some hits, M1s, getting the 4 M1 combo in, getting the combo system in, and then also getting hits, damage, and just basically getting everything registered. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a new script inside of starter player scripts. We're going to call it combat. Actually, we might move it to starter character script because it's way easier. We're going to call this one combat controller. Pretty simple. We're going to remove everything that is in here, and we're going to start off by basically referencing our players. So we're going to say local players equals to game get service players. So what we're doing at the top is just basically referencing services that we're going to be using throughout the script. We're going to also reference the replicated storage equals to game get service replicated storage. What we're doing here is just basically grabbing replicated storage. We can do the same with user input service. Game get service, user input service. There we go. And we just do the same thing right here, user input service. Basically, user input service is just going to detect any keybinds or any presses that we do. So what we're going to do is we're going to say local player equals to game dot players dot local player. We're just basically grabbing our own player here, and now we're going to make a simple config that is going to be here. Well, also before we do that, let's just do combat client equals to, we're going to make a new table, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say combat client dot 2 underscores index equals to combat client. Now you guys might be wondering what this is, and we're basically going to be coding this in object oriented programming. That is going to be the style. I just have to do index, my bad, right here. We're going to be coding this in object oriented programming style, so something that has like functions with dot self. And now a lot of you guys probably will be lost here, or you guys won't know like really what any of this means. I'm going to try and explain everything as I go, but for those of you who really don't understand it, I recommend either watching some of my other videos or checking out the academy, because there's just some stuff that beginners, like full-on beginners, you guys can of course copy the whole video and just do whatever I'm doing. But if you actually want to know what each thing means, then it's probably going to be a bit hard for complete beginners. But if you guys know a little bit of code, then you guys know what I'm going to be doing right from now on. So first of all, what we need to do is we need to make a simple config. We're going to say config equals to, we're going to make a new table. What we're going to do is we're going to say, first of all, we need a combo length. So how many M1s are going to be in one combo? So let's just say 4. We also need time between hits. There we go. We can be like 0.5. Pretty simple. Let's do end cooldown. So once we finish M1s, we're going to do 1.5 second cooldown, and then we're going to do animation IDs, and we're just going to make like 4 animation IDs. So we're going to do 1, then we're going to do this one, we're going to do this, another one, do this, and then another one, do this. You're just basically holding them as placeholders right now. We're not going to paste in the IDs of now until we make the animations, but I'm going to show you guys how we're going to do that also. And yeah, that's really going to be it for the config. Right now, what we need to do is we're going to make a new function combat client dot new, right? And we're going to do player object right here, and we're going to basically go ahead and clone this. So right now what we need to do is we need to set exactly what this already says right here. So we need to basically set the meta table of the combat client to self. I'm going to explain what this does. Okay, it's basically auto correcting everything for us, but we're not going to do that because I need to explain some things to you guys. So we're basically using meta tables here to kind of code in such an object oriented programming style. And what we're basically doing is, because we set the index to this and we're setting the self, anything we put inside of this table we can access. So basically imagine I put my character here. So I'm basically putting my character inside of here, and when I reference self.character, is going to reference the actual character. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to say self player equals to player object. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to self.remote. So what we need to do is we need to make a remote event, which we're going to do right here. We're going to go into here, make a remote event, and we're going to call this combat remote. There we go. Pretty simple, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do replicated storage dot combat remote. Pretty simple. Next thing is we're doing is referencing our character equals to player dot character or player dot character added weight. Pretty simple. So we're referencing our character. We're not gonna need anything else. Mainly what we can need to is self dot can attack equals to true, and then self dot combo running equals to false. Anything else we can really get access from. And then what we can do is we can go ahead and make a new. So we already have the character. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. First of all, we need to actually bind the animations and just get the humanoid flowing in. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new function, combat client, two dots bind character. So this just basically prevents it when we die, so we don't like get bugs or like something when a character reloads and stuff like that. So we're gonna do self dot character equals to character, and then we're gonna do self dot humanoid. What we can do is we can also put self dot humanoid equals to nil right here, and we can do self dot humanoid equals to character wait for child humanoid. So we're basically just waiting for the humanoid to form. What we're going to do after that is we're going to do local animator equals to self.humanoid, wait for child animator. And what we're going to do basically is we're going to say, we're going to make a new function. We're going to call it load animations, combat client, load animations. What we're basically doing is we're just preloading the M1s. So what we're just doing right now is setting up the character, setting up the player, setting up the values, and then preloading. So what we're going to do is we're going to self dot attack tracks equals to this. Oh, there we go. And then we're going to do for iv in config dot animation IDs do. We're just going to make a new animation. Local anim equals to instance.new animation. There we go. And then we're gonna basically make sure the anim.animation ID is equal to the ID, aka v, whatever we set right here. So what this basically does is I can even change this to ID just to show you guys. Basically what we're doing is we're grabbing all this table and we're setting up new animations. And then what we're doing is we're gonna say self that attack tracks I equals to self that animator load animation anim. Pretty simple. So we're just preloading everything that's going to be put into here. This is what basically this does. So I can get back into here and I can say self that animator equals to animator. I can also put this equals to nil, and then what I can say here is I can say self load animations. So basically we're just going to be loading, we're just going to be running this. So you guys might be confused on what self means, and I get like beginners are completely confused on what we're doing here, because this is not completely like, it is simple in terms of features, but in terms of like code structure is probably not the most beginner thing, but I'm trying to explain to you guys as we go. So basically what this self thing means is we're basically putting this inside of here, and then we can reference it by doing self. So self is the combat client. We're using this table and we're putting stuff inside of this table. So imagine we have a table and we put an apple, we put an orange, we put a car, whatever. And then by using self, we're referencing to that table. So we're not doing combat client dot player, we're doing self, right? Because we set the meta table of self equals to this table, right? So we can basically grab and just do all of these. So what I can also do is I can do self bind character right here. Actually we need to do, oh my bad, we need to do player object dot character. What you can do is you can also reference this and tag this as a player, and then what you can do, player dot character added, so you can get kind of these like suggestions, connect function character, and then I can do self bind character. There we go. So now we bind the character. Pretty simple. Whenever we die, it just binds it again, so we can run the combat without anything bad. So what, oh okay, also what I need to do is I need to say return self right here, because we're going to be returning this to itself, so we can actually pass it and just get the continuation of the script. Another function we need to do is self bind input function combat client bind input, and this is going to be a pretty simple function. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be using input began. As you can see, it already just does it for us, so let's do this right here. And if game process, then return end. And then also we don't need this right now specifically because we're going to be checking much more things on the server. We're going to user input type dot user input type equals to enum dot user input type dot mouse button one. Then we're going to do another function which we're going to leave empty for now. We're going to do combat client start combo like this. There we go. And then we're going to self start combo. There we go. So pretty simple. What we're doing right here is we're binding the input, and then we can do right here where we left off self. So we're binding the input. Basically, when we click mouse button one, it's going to try to start a combo, which is going to be everything we're going to be doing right inside of here. So pretty simple things. So what we can do right here is we're going to say if not self dot can attack. So basically, if we cannot attack, or self the combo running, then return end, meaning if we're attacking already or we are on cooldown, we cannot attack because it's going to end this off. Another thing is we're going to say if not self dot character, or not self dot humanoid, or not self or self the humanoid dot health is less than 0, then return end. So basically meaning if we don't have a character, aka if we died, if we don't have a humanoid, or if we don't have any health, it's not going to run the attack function. So what we're going to do right here, self combo running equals true, and then self can attack equals false, meaning we checked all these. We made sure that we can actually attack and we can actually execute. And now we're just going to set these values to true. We're going to do a task.spawn right here, and we're going to do a simple self. So we need another function right here, self function combat client. We're going to do play combo because we have officially executed it. We're going to do self play combo, and what we're going to do is we're going to say self dot, we can just copy this. There we go. So making sure the combo is false, and then making sure task dot wait config dot end cooldown after we attack that we have a little bit of a cooldown. Boom, we play the combo through, and then after we finish it, we can make sure self that can attack equals to true. There we go. So what we're going to do right now is going to say for I equals to 1 config.combo length. So however many combo lengths we have, since we put 4, it's going to be 4 M1s. What we're going to do is you're going to, yeah, it's already filling this up for us. So I'm going to just explain what this is. We did not, okay, if track, then we just do track play. So basically, from all the tracks, it's going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 by order, and then it's going to play M1, M2, M3, and then we also have a remote, so we're going to do self.remote, fire, server, we're going to do hit, oop, there we go, 2 dots, and I, basically just showing us, okay, hit 1, hit 2, hit 3, and hit 4, passing it on to the server, which we're going to make the server script in a little bit. And then I'm going to do if I is less than config.combo length, then task.wait, config time between hits. Pretty simple, right? So that is basically going to be everything. Now we just need to run this by doing local controller equals to combat client.new player. Player. There we go. So a quick overview of what we just wrote, and you guys can pause the video or write everything you might need for yourself. So we set up the combat client, we set up our config, so how many combos, time between each hit, and then end cooldown whenever we finish the 4th M1. And then combat client, basically we just have like a sort of setup for this where we have what's it called? We have our player, we have our remotes, we have our character, we have can attack, our combos running, and we have our animations getting binded, loaded already, and then we buy the input to start the combo. Now, another thing is that, yeah, we might need to actually make it so you, every time you click, you do like one combo, because for right now, I think you just click. Yeah, I kind of coded it so you click and it just plays off the combo and just waits until the end. So we're gonna have to make sure that you just click once, and then if you continue clicking on, the combo basically continues. All right, so I just basically added 2 more lines of code right here in order to index that and make sure it fires off every time we click instead of just like of one. So we need to make sure we have a combo index and a last attack time. So now the only thing to do is we need to go ahead and rework this line of code right here, because basically right now what we're doing is we're just playing the combo at once. So we can just keep all of this going, keep all of this going. So now another thing is what we have to do is let's just move this all the way down. Let's actually remove this for now. Let's remove all of this for now because we're going to need to rewrite this a little bit. So we're going to do local now equals to tick to just basically track when we're actually hitting. And then we're going to do if self.combo index, which is the new thing we did, is 0. And now is minus self dot last attack time, and it's less than config dot time between hits, then return end, basically meaning if we're just spamming in between and it's not the current combo, it's going to return end. Also, we need to do another thing. If self.combo index is less than config.combo length, then we're going to do self.combo index plus equals to 1 to just make the combo do to the next one, else return end. Pretty simple like that. So now we're going to do self.last attack time equals to now, and then we're going to do local index equals to self.combo index, local track equals to self.attack tracks. Oops, attack. We need to attack tracks index. There we go. And then we need to do if track, then track play. Just basically making sure that we play this. And then we can also remove this because we already are going to validate this through here. We do not need this. We're going to say index because we have changed it up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to if self dot combo index equals to config dot combo length. Then this is just resetting the combo. Self that can attack equals to false. Task delay config end cooldown function. There we go. We're going to do self.combo index equals 0, self.can attack equals to true. We're going to completely remove this because we do not need it anymore. Basically, now I'm just going to explain what we just did here. So we added 2 new things, combo index and last attack time. And then we made it so basically every time you M1 is going to combo you +1. And then after it is done, it is going to set the combo index to 0, basically once it goes to the end. And the combo index is 0 is going to wait for you to end cooldown, and it's going to let you attack again. And basically it's going to play every single track every time we do something. Now what we can do is we can go ahead and get a new avatar right here. Make a new character. I'm going to do R15 just as an example for this, and I'm going to make a simple punch right here, which is going to do like this. I'm just going to make a pretty simple animation just to start things off, because we don't need anything complex. Now you guys can make 4 animations, like 4 different sets. I'm just going to, for the sake of the video's time, make just one animation. So we're just going to basically go like this, make sure he turns, just goes his arm up like this, goes backwards, boom, boom, and then we kind of like do a delay. There we go. There we go, and we basically tilt this, and then we just do like a full-on snap. So if you guys watch some of my previous tutorials, you guys will know how that works. So basically do something like this, like a full snap, and then we make sure this is turned back, so it's kind of like hitting. There we go. And then we can, we just need to make sure the arm is closer, and then we can move this backward, make this sure this looks right there. There we go. And now we just do something like this, where it drags on and just moves a little bit like that. Boom. There we go. Very simple. We have a punch right there. We can even make it a little bit shorter. Boom. Move this a little bit. There we go. Very simple. We have a simple punch right there. Publish Roblox. Save. Now, once you get this ID right here, you can go into here, into the combat controller, and you can say Robux asset ID, 2 dots, boom. Now I'm just gonna copy and paste everything right here because I'm not gonna make all 4 animations, but if you guys want, you can basically just make a single animation every time you make. So M1, M2, M3, M4, you would paste it. So M1, M2, M3, M4, you would paste a different number in here. You will still keep this the same, right? So that is mainly what the animations are going to be placed at. All right, just a few things I missed out. Basically, what you want to do is also you want to take this and you want to just paste it right in here. Just put self-like character. So right in front of this. And also, I think you wrote this, but you need to make sure your controller is set up here. And then also another thing that you want to do is you want to go to the track. You want to say track the priority equals to enum, the animation priority, the action 4. So the animation plays out properly. So once we go into the game, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, we have a cooldown. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So now we have 4 M1s. Now, as you can see, I made the one animation. So it's basically kind of like just a simple clicking. There we go. But you can have like 4 animations. So I can even like make, just pause the video and just make 3 more variants real quick and just show you how it works. All right, boom. So I just basically pasted in this right here instead of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just basically have different animations for that. And if you guys want to pause the video and just look at all of the code, this is only going to be the client side. And now what's going to happen is, as you guys can see, boom, 3, 4. There we go. Now we have a proper combo. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So now we have all of the client side set up. Now we just need to make sure we deal damage to the actual person, aka the dummy that we're going to be doing, and making sure that our damage plays. We have like a cool highlight on it. Maybe we can add some VFX, some sounds. Gonna be pretty cool. So yeah, let's get right into the server script right here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make a new server script. We're gonna call it combat service. There we go. All right, so once we are in the server strip, let's not remove that. There we go. Let's bring that back. I wanted to remove this right here. So we're gonna do the same. We're gonna call rep storage equals game get service rep storage replicated storage. We can do the same thing local. We can do workspace. We actually don't even need to call workspace because we already have it. Local tween service. We do need to call that ts equals game get service tween service, which we're gonna be using for the highlight later on. And then we need to call in debris. Debris equals to game get service debris. There we go. And then we can just call local combat remote equals to rep storage wait for child combat remote. There we go. And now we're gonna make another config in here. What we're gonna do is we can also first just make the same thing we did in the client script. So as you can remember, when we did this, we're just gonna do the same thing. I can even like copy paste this. Let me just copy all of this, put this right here, and just change it to combat server. Combat server, combat server, combat server, and then we delete this, and we're gonna write a new config. So we're gonna write hitbox size, hitbox size. I'm just gonna write some simple parameters that you will probably need in your game. We might need this to be like 9. There we go. And then we do hitbox offset equals to cframe.new 0, 0, -4. For example, just how far it's gonna be. Okay, we need to make sure commas are placed in here. We're gonna do damage per hit equals 2. You can do like, for example, if you want like 8, 8, 8, 8, or you can do like the last hit can do like 9 damage or like 10, whatever you might like. There we go. We can do also highlight fade time. We could do 0.4, and we can do highlight lifetime, how long it lasts, 0.6 seconds, something like that. And then we're gonna do a new function, combat server dot new. Simple as always. We're gonna do remote right here. Simple as always. We're doing a remote right here to just basically make sure we connect from here. So if you guys remember, we're firing a remote event right here. So this is where we're going to be connecting off to this script. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just go here and I'm going to let this auto fill for me. Now what we can do right here is we can just do combat remote on server event connect function. We have function player action hit index. There we go. So what we can do right here is we are gonna make a new function called actually we're just gonna do a new function. Yeah, my bad. Self combat server perform hit. Pretty simple. We're gonna do player and we're gonna do hit index as a pass, and then we're gonna do right here self perform hit player hit index. There we go. So right now, this is where we're going to be handling our main function. This is where we're going to be handling the hitbox, handling the damage, handling just everything in general. So what we're gonna do right here is we're gonna make local character equals to player.character just to grab the character real quick. We're gonna do local root equals to character, wait for child humanoid root part to make sure we get our root part. And then we're gonna do our humanoid, local hum equals character, wait for child humanoid. There we go, pretty simple. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna make a hitbox where we're gonna be actually scanning off a hit through raycasting, and then also get parts inbound. We're gonna be basically using that to identify where the character is, because a lot of you guys maybe use touched or maybe use something that's like inefficient or outdated. There's way more better things to do to make sure you get the hitbox, for example zone module or something else. But if you are interested in those like more advanced methods, then make sure you check out the academy. It's going to be in the first link in the description. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get into making the get parts inbound. So we're going to do local center c frame equals to root.cframe times config.hitbox offset. There we go, because we set that up right there. Overlap params equals to we need to do local, my bad. Overlap params equals to overlap params dot new. We're gonna do overlap params dot filter type. We actually need to make sure this is not capitalized so it doesn't do that. Dot filter type equals to enum dot raycast filter type dot exclude. Then overlap params dot filter descendants equals to character. This basically just makes sure, if you guys are confused on what all this is just basically make sure we do not hit it ourselves. So we're gonna go for parts equals to workspace get parts inbound. We're gonna do center c frame config dot hitbox size, and then overlap params, just passing everything through. If not parts, then return end. There we go. Or we can do if not parts or parts. We do need to do like a number of parts. If parts equals to 0, then return end. Pretty simple. So we're gonna do damage, local damage equals to config damage per hit index, just making sure that we do different damage. Or we can do also, yeah, or just for a fallback, we can do damage per hit, config dot damage per hit. There we go. As our sort of fallback, local hit humanoids, just to trace who we hit. We are going to make a new table, and then we're going to do for part in parts do if local model equals to part find first child, find first ancestor of class model. Then we're gonna do if model and model isn't equals to character. Then there we go. We're gonna find the target humanoid. So we're gonna do this, but we're gonna do target humanoid equals to model find first child, which is a humanoid, and then if there is a target humanoid, and target humanoid, the health is more than 0, and not hit humanoids, target humanoids. So basically, if we haven't hit him already, we're gonna do hit humanoids. Hit humanoids. New table, target humanoid equals to true, making sure we hit him and we recognize the hit. We're gonna make sure he takes damage, take damage, and then we're gonna do a new function right here called a function combat server apply highlight. There we go, model, and then we're just gonna do. We need to make sure this is entered, and then we do self apply highlight target humanoid dot parent. Pretty simple. Yeah, or we can just call it model since we already have that grabbed. So basically what we did right here is we made sure all of this is detecting the hit through raycasting. So we basically just make a imaginary box in front of us that is this large, so 9 studs across each X, Y, and Z, and then it's in front of us -4, and this is a damage per hit. And basically what we're doing is we're scanning our area for any sort of humanoids. If we find a humanoid, it's going to basically tag him and make sure it takes damage and applies this highlight, which we're going to be going over in the highlight basically right now. And also what we need to do before we go into any further, we need to do local server, combat server.new, combat remote, there we go. So we're just basically making sure that this actually runs through. Now for highlight, it's pretty simple. Local highlight equals to instance.new highlight. And then we're gonna do highlight dot fill color equals to color3.new. We're gonna do red, so we can go ahead and go into here and make sure this is set to red. So you guys just click on this button right here, and then we're gonna do an outline color. We're gonna set this to red too. There we go. Highlight dot fill transparency. Oops, fill transparency equals 2.4. Highlight that outline transparency equals to 0. Put 0 there. Highlight dot adorny equals to model. Highlight dot parent equals to model. And then we're gonna do a new tween. Local tween equals to tween service ts. We did create. We're gonna do a new tween. We're gonna say highlight. We're gonna do tween info dot new config the highlight fade time enum dot easing style quad enum dot easing direction dot out. There we go. And now, okay, we do need to make sure there's a comma right here. And then our next thing is going to be fill transparency. Fill transparency equals 1. Outline transparency equals 1. There we go. Now we have our tween set up. We can just do tween play and game.debris. We already have debris labeled. So let's just call it like this. Add item, highlight, and then we do config the highlight lifetime. So we're just gonna basically delete the highlight. What I did right here is we apply the model. Once the humanoid takes damage, we apply the highlight to the model. And then we just make a new instance of a highlight. So as you know, when you make a highlight right here, highlight, you can make it right here. We set the color to red. We set the transparency to 0.4. We set it to the model. And then we make a new tween for the highlight with new information like highlight fade time, just how the tween performs. If you guys don't know about tweens and you guys want to learn more, I have videos on my YouTube about tweens too. And then we just play the tween and then basically just make sure we delete the tween after it has been done. Also, guys, another thing I didn't notice is I had this like capital R right here. You don't really need it. Make sure that is deleted. And then what also I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that the damage is kind of a little bit delayed. Test that delay 0.3. What you can do is you can also do hit delay equals to 0.3. There we go. And now what we can do, we need a comma right here. And now what we can do is we can do config hit delay and then do this. There we go. Oh wait, I didn't do something right. Function task.delay 0.3. My bad. Config hit delay function. There we go. And now we do self remote fire index, and I think we fired something else to answer an action and index. Yeah, we just need the index. So we're gonna do like hit right here just to show it's like a hit action. There we go. An index. And let's go into the game right now and test this out. Boom. There we go. Perfect. So now we have a highlight. We have a smooth tween of the highlight. And we can go into here. Boom. Boom. As you can see, it times hits perfectly. And we have the combat system ready. And now all we need to do is maybe just add a simple sound to it. So what I recommend is going to the toolbox and just searching up punch and audio. Of course, you can go to punch. I don't know why it's not loading. I might have to wait a little bit. All right, so now I have this simple punch right here. I'm just going to insert it. We can put it into replicate search. If you want to organize this, of course you can. I'm just not going to do it. But basically what I can do right here is I can do local sound equals to rep storage dot hit punch clone. We're going to clone it. We're going to put the parent to the model dot head. We're going to make sure it plays. We're going to make sure it's added to the debris after sound after 3 seconds, and then we can make sure just to tone it down a little bit so it's not too loud. There we go. Perfect. So now once we go into the game, boom, we have a hit sound. Perfect. There we go. Easy. So now yeah, there we go. Perfect. So now we have our 4M1 combo. We have our hit sound, everything basically, as you can see, pretty smooth. And then our combos reset at the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4 combos reset at the end. And as you can see right here, you can basically configure everything you need. You can input new animations right here. It is separated in two simple scripts. You can always organize the replicated storage. There's also different ways to do this just fully modularly. But if you guys are interested in learning just how to go more in depth on that stuff, on just how to like organize code better, how to get better code, how to write things more efficiently in a more proper, like maybe like another framework, then make sure you guys check out the academy. It's going to be the first link in the description. Hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and yeah, this is basically going to be it. You guys can pause the video and just write everything if you don't really want to like learn the whole thing. But other than that, hope this video was helpful for you guys. Hopefully you learned something that you haven't. A lot of you guys have been asking me for these like OOP tutorials, aka object oriented programming, and I figure I should deliver to you guys since a lot of you guys were curious about how it's done. I did already do a video on it, but this might be like just more of like doing and just making the combat system for you guys. The other video was more explaining OOP, so if you guys are interested in that, it's on my YouTube somewhere. It's called basically making a object-oriented programming in combat, where we just kind of like more explain things on. This is just more of going through and making the thing, and then just teaching you guys along the way on what you should learn about it and how you should do it. Without further ado, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys liked it. Make sure you subscribe, turn notifications on, and like the video so you do not miss out further tutorials like this. And then also make sure you check out the academy. It's going to be the first link in the description if you want to level up and learn more. But yeah, without further ado, I'll catch you boys in the next one. Peace.